Shakespeare once said all the world's a stage, but he didn't tell us how to get there. This is Steps to the Stage, a 7th Street Theater podcast. I'm your host, Colin Pinedo, and let's get the show going.
Thank you, places!
Folks at home, do you have a business, small or otherwise, that isn't pulling in traffic the way you want it to? Well, it might be because they don't have something to remember you by. And that's why today we are sponsored by Graphic Details Inc., signs and displays. They will print out your banners, they'll cut vinyl, they'll do window graphics for the company cars. We're talking business cards, banner stands, LCD displays, tabletop displays, logos, all in full living color. Again, that is Graphic Details Inc. here in Chino, California. Thank you so much. Hello, and welcome to Steps to the Stage, the community theater podcast where we take you through the ins and outs of what it takes to put on a production with the community theater professionals you know and love. Today's episode is all about stage managing and that sort of process, and so who better to talk to than 7th Street Community Theater's resident stage manager for many years, Danny. Danny, welcome back.
Hello. Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yeah.
That is ingrained in my speech, by the way, the welcome
really?
Back, great to be back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've started saying it in like acting classes in college and stuff. The instructor will say welcome back. And I'm like, oh, wait. There's not a cacophony behind me. It's so weird. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
when I got to OCU, I had to like bite my tongue. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm. Totally, because then everyone looks at you and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not like a regular thing.
Oh, wait,
yeah, totally.
It's only a CCCT thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, how have you been since, I don't know.
Pretty good. So, basically since, my last show at CCCT was Frozen Junior. And I think
right before
we only got through
pandemic, right?
we only got through
cut off, right?
weekends, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
And then I believe it was like a Friday night, and all of a sudden they like walked in and they were like, "This is our last show." And I was like, "Oh,
you're like,
okay.
Yeah, cool. We'll roll it. We'll go. Yeah."
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess that's fine.
Hyperventilating frantically, just like
right, and then I was like, I guess I'll see you guys in a few weeks, hopefully, and then
and now here we are.
Here we
are.
A
year and a half later.
Year and a half. Yeah, so it's crazy. Yeah,
totally.
Almost 2 years now.
So weird.
Insane.
It's so weird. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's basically. I've just been going to college ever since then, and like. I've worked on 2 shows here now. I'm working on my third currently.
Okay.
Right now I'm the assistant stage manager on Enron. It's one of our main stages for the theater school. So I'm pretty excited about that. It opens up on the 28th of October.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited.
So a lot of our listening base, I guess, is mostly coming from like an actor's perspective. Either like an actor's perspective or people who aren't involved in theater as a whole very often, and so they might not be familiar with like the tech and the crew side of things. So go on for as long as you need to, but just like explain what it is to be a stage manager and like what that position entails. Yeah.
So it's funny, this is actually a question we get a lot in class, and we've had a lot of projects where we've had to define what a stage manager is and what their job is to do, because depending on what theater you are at and what type of company you're working for, it really is dependent. So at Chino Community Children's Theater, it was very much you functioned in a role of more of like an ASM standing, where you didn't really have involvement with every technical side of the production, but you were still the main hub of communications between directors and designers and your tech team. So that goes through like your light board operator, your sound operator, projections, any run crew you have, stuff like that. But basically the stage manager is just the central hub of information, and you really just are trying to make sure that everyone is on the same page for the production. And then once you get out of the production period, which technically doesn't end until basically the end of your final dress rehearsal. And then at that point, the director should basically hand over the keys to the production or show, whatever you're doing, and say, it's yours, take it away. And then one of my professors has this great analogy. It's we repaint the Picasso every night. So we basically make sure that we put all these design elements together into the show that we've been working so hard to create, and we make sure that it runs smoothly without any problems. And if any problems do arise, it's our job to kind of help mitigate them and solve them as they pop up. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I didn't know like half of that actually. Yeah. That's actually really interesting. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, nice. How did you get started like at 7th Street with that? Like,
so I didn't start out one day and I didn't wake up saying, oh, I want to be a stage manager. That was not me at all. I actually woke up and said, I really want to be a film director.
Okay.
I realized that the film industry is something really difficult to get into and without any training or background. And my mom was actually like, well, if you're going to be a director, you need to know how to work with actors and the design process and so on. So she found Chino Community Children's Theater and 7th Street, and she was like, sign up for this workshop that they were having. It was Jingle. I forget what year it was, but I think I was like 11 or 12, somewhere around there. And I did the workshop with Miss Laney, and she recognized that I didn't really love the acting portion. So she helped me take on more of the like technical side of like running the workshop and kind of doing that stuff. And I really liked it. And she was like, you should sign up for crew for our next show. And so, and that first show was Shrek, and I've been at that theater pretty much ever since then. I didn't officially start stage managing there until I was, I believe, 15 and a half or 16. It was around there. But my first show was Legally Blonde, was where I was the co-stage manager with
like
Kay.
The full on. Yeah.
And then my first show by myself there was Scrooge for the adult Christmas production. So yeah, I think over my 5-ish years there, I've done like 30 productions with.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've loved every single one of them. So, and they've been a great base for my education and just kind of giving me the instincts that I needed to work with to be able to do what I love, which is stage managing.
Yeah. You mentioned your education. You're going to school for like stage management and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible, actually. Yeah.
My technical major is called Design and Production with an emphasis in stage management. And there are obviously different pathways that you can take here, but depending on what you want to do, you have different emphases and you can add more or less. But right now I've just got the stage management one. I'm kind of thinking about adding a technical directing one, which is the person who's kind of in charge of building and creating and designing the overall look of the set, which is something that I found really fascinating since my time at 7th Street, because it is a community theater and we spent a lot of our times like on weekends building those sets by ourselves with our own bare hands. So,
yes.
And that is something that I really love to do. And that passion was brought up because of 7th Street. So that's something that I love about community theater is everyone's hands are kind of in every pot. So not everyone has one specific job, but everyone chips in and helps out. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So how else does the experience of like learning how to work as like a stage manager in like the technical world professionally differ from the experiences you've had on like a smaller like community level?
Yeah. So one thing I will say is I never knew how much paperwork goes into stage managing until I went to school. There is literally a document for everything you can think of, possibly, from tracking every single prop that is on that stage, from its entrance to its exit to every single handoff it's made, or what costume pieces are on which actor at what time and what ensemble member they're playing, or just to general blocking and taking notes during rehearsals on blocking as the director is going through blocking and blocking scenes. for the actors, because it's important for the stage manager to kind of know every single moving part of the show, because without that, things are able to get lost very easily. And something that I've really learned to appreciate is that, yes, the paperwork is kind of meticulous and time consuming, but without that paperwork, yeah, exactly. And without that paperwork, you're not wondering, oh, the director wants to go back for a rehearsal and just do this one scene. I don't remember what props are in what actors' hands, or what costumes the actors are wearing, or what their blocking is. And so
you're able to just know
things like that. Yeah. And having that kind of archive, because then if you want to remount a show, you can do that from a stage manager's book. And actually, a lot of scripts, when you get them, and the stage directions that are in scripts are blocking notes from the original stage managers on the show. So that's something that is very interesting, because stage managers are such an integral part that we don't really think about.
The whole point is to not be noticed almost.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of think of stage managers also as like an accountant. Like, if there were to be an audit of a show, like, you could walk up to a stage manager and be like, where is this one small paper prop?
And they'd have,
you know, and they could pull it out and be like, it's right here, like, type of thing. So I love that about it. It's very fun. But but it is definitely different. I will say that 7th Street is more of, you're in the space and you're solving problems on the fly, and you really have to kind of be in the moment and know your show well enough to know, like, when something does happen, like, how do you fix it?
It's very involved.
Yes. Yeah. And something that 7th Street does very well is they are constantly able to put on amazing shows, and people walk away saying, that looked so effortless. And part of why they are so good at that is because they have great technicians who have been working there for several years, and they have brought up doing what they do and exploring what they love, and everyone just has like this immense passion for what they're doing. And I think that's why every show there is just like so stupendous.
The biggest reoccurring compliment that I always notice when we do shows is, I never expected that from such a small space.
Exactly.
Of being able to create such a vibrant or expansive world in a very small room, basically.
Yeah. I will never forget my time on A Christmas Story with Kevin Gassio and Allison Sano.
Oh yeah, with the way that it opened up the dollhouse.
They had these beautiful windows. That were, these giant things
on the rollers.
Yeah,
with and they lit up and everything.
Oh, yes, they were so beautiful. And then of course we had that dollhouse stage, and then we also had that platform that moved.
Oh yeah, that was just completely.
That was my technician dream. There were so many moving parts, and my best friend Janelle Huck was the stage manager on that, and she did a stupendous job on that show, because she had the background to do that with the paperwork, because she sat down with me and said, we need to make sure that these traffic is okay, because these traffic patterns,
basically.
Yes, because we don't want anyone to get hurt. And that's also another big thing that stage management is focused on is we're not necessarily your nurse, we're not in charge of that type of thing, but a big portion of what we're looking out for is safety measures and making sure that what we are doing is safe for the actor as well as the technician who is doing it.
Less nurse, more OSHA, right?
Yes,
kind of?
yes,
okay,
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Actually, we're just OSHA enforcers, and and my time here has definitely I didn't even know half of the rules that were in OSHA before coming here, but part of my curriculum is sitting down and learning about what is union recognized and stuff like that. And my school is actually a big believer in reflecting what the industry is currently going through.
Mm-hmm.
And so like right now we're having a big discussion about trying to get rid of 10 out of 12s, which I don't know if you know what they are, but basically they're these rehearsals where you spend 10 hours out of a 12-hour day. So you have a 2-hour dinner break. So you work for 5 hours, then you have a break for 2 hours, and then you come back for another 5 hours. And then also another big thing that is a part of that movement in getting rid of those is going from a 10 out of 12 to an 8 out of 10. So the same concept, but instead 4 instead of 5 hours.
It's less
taxing. And even though we're losing 2 hours of time, think about the productivity level, because like after a certain point, you just don't work as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because you're so just drained.
You're so tired and you're mentally spent. And something that the theater world is really starting to recognize is time, yes, is money, but also everyone working in this industry is a human being. And we need to recognize that we are not machines. We can't go for a 7-hour work day or work week with extreme hours. Like that's just not possible. And that's something that I wish also like the rest of the world work wise would reflect. And I'm just excited that I get to be in an industry where I am valued as a human being. And that's something that is also extremely important for me as like an individual. So, but yeah, I love theater. It's amazing.
Yeah. And especially after a 2-year sabbatical, that 7-hour work week is going to be even more just monumental.
Like,
Totally.
And it's crazy.
Totally.
My school was very lucky in the last year we were able to actually still have shows. I mean, obviously we didn't have live. Yeah, we didn't have a live audience, but we were able to still do shows. They were very scaled back. Yes. But we were able to have we did the math. We were able to have a max of 8 people on our big stage and 5 for our smaller stage, which is a thrust. And we had these small but amazing shows.
Yeah,
and
that's still incredible.
Yeah, it was so amazing just even to be able to be in a room with other artists creating a show. Like every time I went
physical
to
show.
Yes. Yeah, like every time I walk into the room and I'd be like, it's not the theater that I know and love, but at least it's still something close to what I love.
It's a pretty decent approximation.
We still cranked out these amazing shows. We did Spring Awakening, and it was breathtaking.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I mean, it was so good. The cast did an incredible job. The set was amazing. And even though we weren't able to have a lot of the important moments, physically, we were still able to get the story-wise because we had amazing choreographers and stuff who were really able to show that. And it's something so amazing about, I think, our art is even though we constantly have to overcome and adapt, we're always finding new ways to reach humans and connect with them. And at the center of theater, that's all we're trying to do is tell a story and connect to the audience. And it doesn't matter if you're the spot operator or the actor standing on stage or the person sitting in the audience trying to fight back tears because something hit a little bit too close to home. It doesn't matter who you are in that space. What matters is the connection that you overall will feel no matter what. So, and I love that. Yeah.
That's incredible that you were still.
Question.
Oh, absolutely, it did. That's incredible that you were. It's incredible that you were still able to do some semblance of an in-person production. Because as someone who has done a decent amount of Zoom plays, as I think they're calling them now, it's so valuable and so important. I think for theater and the arts to be in the same room as somebody when you're trying to form an emotional and physical connection with them.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought,
right? Who would have known?
Right? Who would have put those two together? But
who would have picked it? Yeah.
Not me. But it's great that you were able to, even in some small way, still have that because it does have a positive effect on the performance and the show as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was just so I love that I had the opportunity to come to this school where we are doing things that no other school in the country is being able to do currently, because we are so COVID aware. And that's something that I'm very grateful about for my school, because without that awareness, we wouldn't be where we are today, being able to have shows. And now this year, actually, we're going back to pretty much a full level of like a regular show. We still are we're still rehearsing masked, but in our first dress rehearsals, actors are able to take off their masks. We are having live performances as of now. That could also still change, but and we are also streaming them obviously at the same time too. So we have both of those options for audience members depending on their level of comfortability. So yeah, and I mean we're back to regular size cast, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God,
we're back to like a normal size production, which has been like my progress from a year ago and my knowledge to now. Like I think about it almost on a daily basis, and I am just like shocked. Like I'm not the same person I used to be. Like what is it? Almost a year and a half ago now, or my knowledge wise has just grown so much, and that's something that I really am so proud of and just thankful for. And even in this time when a lot of people weren't able to go to school, I had the opportunity to, and I can't be thankful enough for that. So but I'm really excited for my show. So
that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
That again, that must be so refreshing, even to be able to do like a full scale thing again.
Yep. It's insane. And just listening and sitting in design meetings and having those artistic discussions with people in a different way than CCT, not necessarily in a negative or a good way,
no,
but
absolutely
just
not.
like it's just a completely different atmosphere where I am. It's nerve-wracking, but it's also just so exhilarating
in an exciting way.
And
like we said last episode. Like we said last episode, nervousness is excitement with a scary mask on. Exactly.
And something that I love about CCT is they really do know how to make you reliant on your craft, and they get you to a place where you feel confident in yourself and are able to know that you have the background to do the things, even if it is slightly different or completely different in many regards. And I love that about them. So
absolutely. Picture this for me. Warm food, right? People chitting and chatting all around you like it's a big family. Take a whiff in, breathe it in deep. What do you smell? What is that? What is it? Tomato? Ooh, a little bit of garlic? Yeah. Perhaps a bit of that mozzarella cheese. Oh, you know it. Open your eyes. Where were you? That's right. Canateros, dine under the vine with a hand-tossed pizza made the old-fashioned way. You know what I mean? None of that deep-fried gunk like at those national chains. No. If you want good quality, family-made Italian food, go to Canateros. Trust me. So you mentioned the journey that you've been on since the start of quarantine to now. How has your craft and just sort of your well-being in general improved? Like your ability as a stage manager, how has it grown and changed from going from that workshop all those years ago to now?
Something that I have definitely kind of had to battle, and I think a lot of young stage managers have to battle, is this sense of hierarchy. Because I think a lot of, at least for me, starting out so young and not only stage managing young children from ages of 5 to like my age, but I also worked with adults who were much older than me and in many regards had a lot more experience in the theater world than I did. Placing too much importance on that label of I am the stage manager is something that I think a lot of young stage SMs should avoid, just because it's not about you versus them. That's not what your role is.
Yeah.
Your job is to help them get to a point where they are confident and they know what their job is, and you're there to help aid them. Because without them, you don't have a job, and without you, they don't also have a job. So you aren't this person above them. You aren't this person below them. You have your own set of job, like
both of you
duties, and and so that's something that I've definitely kind of gotten away from. But also just my like quickness on my feet has gotten a lot better. I very vividly remember the time that I had a set fall apart during a show in Scrooge, and I literally had to make a snap decision in 3 seconds where in a professional environment that show would have been, there would have been a stage manager who would have gone over the God mic and said, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen, we will be holding for technical difficulties, obviously,
and safety issues." Yeah,
but in our theater, we run a little bit differently, and back then we didn't even have a comm system, and we didn't have a
very
comm
recent
system
thing,
back
isn't
then.
it? Huh?
Yep. I think we got those like, I don't even remember when, but it was very recent.
Very recently, yeah.
Yeah, was the first show we had them for Lion King?
Probably, or maybe Frozen.
I think
even.
so.
I'm not sure. Lion King makes sense.
But I think it was Lion King.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so we didn't have a comm system, so I wasn't able to communicate with the booth. So all I could do in that moment was make sure my actors were safe. And I decided, we can hold this thing together until the end of the show, because we only had. We'll just duct tape it.
What are you
duct
talking
tape
about?
is a stage manager's best friend. Let me just tell you that. But I mean, we moved the staging to in front of it, and like that quick thinking and also being able to stay calm under pressure is something so vital for a stage manager, because you are in some ways the leader of the ship. You are the captain of the boat when the show is on its feet, and you have to have enough confidence in yourself that you're going to make the right decision. Because if you don't have that, people will not follow you, and you'll freeze. And you cannot freeze in those moments, because you have literally 2 seconds to decide before someone could possibly get hurt. And that's a lot of pressure, but it's also not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that you have to really trust yourself and the people around you. And how you do that is by having team meetings and making sure that everyone knows what their job is, and delegating duties to them so you know what to do in case something goes wrong. And that's something that I've also really had to learn, is it's not all on me also. I have a team around me. Yeah. There are people around you that are able to help aid you. Yes. And also at the end of the day, you are also an individual who needs to be taken care of. And if you're too busy taking care of the show, who's going to take care of you? And if you aren't in a good space, your show's not going to be as good as it possibly can be. So you have to remember to take time out of your busy rehearsal schedule to take 10 minutes to yourself and really just be like, am I okay? Have I gotten the sleep I needed, and stuff like that? And that's something that I've also gotten really good at, because I think when you're younger and starting out, it's all about, well, the show must go on. But that's not true. And that's not how the professional world works. If something goes wrong in a show professionally, a stage manager will get over the God mic and they hold. That's just how it goes. And the audience has to be forgiving for that, because again, it is live theater. And that's the beauty of theater, is anything could possibly go wrong or go correct even. And that's what's so beautiful for me is those little moments when things go right. You know, those little nuggets of gold where it's like you did that scene change so seamlessly, or an actor delivered their lines just perfectly, and you just get to sit there and you feel that like overall spark, and it's just amazing, and I love it so much.
That's great. It's a great little thing to end on, I guess. So we're almost to the end of our 30-minute slot, and now it's time for the question that I ask at the end of almost every episode, which is, this is a show about educating people who aren't necessarily know a whole lot about the theater world and want to get into the theater world. So what tips would you give to a young, aspiring little stage manager out there who wants to, get their feet wet? What would you say to them?
I would say, there are opportunities behind every door. And if you don't necessarily get one, that doesn't mean that you're not made for this business or you're not able to do what you want to do. But just trying to get in anywhere you can, whether it be starting out as a crew member who moves literally one sign. That's how I started. My first crew job, I moved one sign, and that was it. And look at where I am now. I did a great job. I moved that sign with such gusto. But I mean, literally starting anywhere, even if that means starting from an actor perspective, because you have to know what an actor is going through, because at the end of the day, like, you are telling a story and you have to help everyone around you. And if you understand the process behind every single person and where they are timeline lies in the show's production, you will be a good stage manager. You have to just start small. And I mean, you're not going to build Rome in a day. You're not going to instantly be a stage manager overnight, but having a good basis of knowing how to communicate with people clearly and effectively and in a manner that is friendly and not defensive is something that's also super integral. So just get out there, try out for your school play, or start working on a film, or like do anything that possibly can help you get your foot into the theater world. And even going and seeing a show and then going up to a stage door afterwards and being like, hi, I really love the technical side. Trust me, any technician will be happy to stand there with you for 30 minutes after a show and talk you through their favorite scene change. Yeah. I mean, I've gone to Universal where we have, I literally stayed after a show and like hovered over the booth and been like, what are you doing? Hi. And like, I've gotten to talk with the stage manager who called that show because I stuck around and asked questions. Just asking questions and being involved and showing your curiosity to the people around you also will help you get your foot in the door, because people will see that you're passionate. And I think that that's all you really can hope for. It's just, if you want to do something, go for it. It's not going to happen if you sit back and do nothing. You have to make the change for yourself. So yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with us tonight.
Of course. Yeah, thank you. I had a great time. Yeah.
No, yeah. This will be a good one. In today's day and age, it's more important than ever to remain informed and present in your community, which is why today we would like to highlight the Chino Champion local newspaper. Make sure you keep up with all of Chino's great local events like festivals, meetups, and live performances, virtual or otherwise. The Chino Champion. Thanks for tuning in. Please, subscribe to Steps to the Stage on your favorite podcast platform, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. And scene.